Charles Schwab's RMD calculator. RMD, of course, stands for Required Minimum Distributions. That's what we're going to take a quick look at here today. I actually like this one. I just did a video on the Schwab's Roth conversion calculator. Not a big fan of that, but I do like this Schwab's RMD one, especially to help you estimate what your RMD is going to be in the future. And then if you use your noggin there, you can extrapolate that relative to the Social Security benefits you expect to receive to see what your taxes will be. So let's dive into this. Don't forget, my friends, subscribe down below. Share the video with others. Post, a comment, thumbs up, the whole thing. So don't forget to do that. Look at that. So I got to whisper because that's a new gauge, or I guess a new trend in video advertising is pausing so everyone can, whoa, what's going on? And then subscribe. That's ASMR, audio manipulation. Subscribe. So I'll probably stop doing that as we go forward. But all right, so let's type into this below. Michelob's going to have a new ad on the Super Bowl that actually I think it's ingenious. So let's just put it that way. It's a lady, Lisa Bonet's daughter, Chloe something. I don't know who she is, but she's got tattoos, so I know she got to be cool. But an attractive lady with tats, and she's doing this Michelob ad in I guess some place in Panama or something like that. Who knows? Brazil, the Amazon, and it's just whispered, and it's got visual, and then there's a big pause for effect. And I actually think it's interesting. I'm always intrigued by how people manipulate you to get you to buy their products, because we know the greater fool theory, i.e., whoever is left holding the wet bag, the tulip, the Denmark tulip crisis back in 1600 or something like that, where I'm buying it because you're buying it because you're buying it, and there is a herd mentality. That's all there is to it when it comes to marketing. And so anything that can go against what's commonly out there is interesting to me. So look at that Michelob ad during the Super Bowl, if you will. And obviously, a lot of you will be watching this after the Super Bowl, but it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. All right, so here's a Schwab RMD calculator. And what we're going to do, I got my trusty, I got my calculator. We're going to take, let me make this bigger. We're going to take a person's, is that too big? Maybe it's a little bit too big. Yeah, maybe a little smaller. All right, they're perfect. There we go. So we're going to take someone who's got $250,000 in their account. They're born in 1965, which makes them, 53 years old. They're married to a spouse who's also born in 1965. They expect to get 6% rate of return on their money, and they're not saying anything for future contributions, which is too bad. All right, so we're just going to run with this. So now when they hit 70, their RMD in the first year is going to be $23,178. So we're going to write $23,178 down at age of 70. Now, when they hit, there's an RMD in yellow there, so that's good. All right, so now when they're, let's say, 80 years old, we're going to say their RMD point is $40,089. Now, again, this doesn't give us a whole lot to work with other than a 6% rate of return, and it says that's the same rate of return throughout your retirement. It's too bad, but it is what it is. I tell you what, I wonder if we can kill off. I guess it won't matter, actually. But anyway, so let's keep going down, and then we can go down until we're 98, whatever. We'll say we're at this stage, I don't know, 80, let's say 85. All right, so 85 years old, and we got RMDs of $50,972 at 85. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say that is our RMD. I tell you what, though, let's do this. On top, that's with no contributions. Let's do this, though. We're going to say $250,000. All right. And what do we say? We're 53, $250,000. And we're going to work for another 12 years until we're 65. I tell you what, let's just say we're going to, for simplicity, let's say we're going to work until we're 70. I wonder if I can do it till I'm 65. Yeah, I can do it. Let's say we're going to work till we're 65. So we got $250,000. We're going to work till we're 65. And we're going to have $10,000 a year going into our 401k. Part of that will be contributions. Part of that will be employer contributions. So we're going to put $10,000 a year in there as our present value. $10,000 a year is our payment. We're going to say, we'll just say 6% rate of return. And we're going to do that for 12 more years. And our future value will be 671. So our future value in that regard is going to be 671. All right. And now, though, instead of being 65. We're going to say we were born in 1953, right? That'll put us 50, I think. Let me just double check here, and we'll say this guy too. 1953. Let me just see. So 1953, 2019 minus 1953. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So what's happening here is we're saying, look, we're going to be 66. We're going to stop working at 66. We're going to let this grow for another 4 years until we hit 70, and that's when our RMDs kick in. So now, with contributions, we're going to have an RMD at 70 of 30. We'll just say 31,000 for simplicity. At 80, we're going to have an RMD of 53,000. For simplicity, and then 85, we're going to have an RMD of 68,000. All right. So let's run these numbers here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run it versus provisional income to figure out how our Social Security is taxed. So let's just say we have $2,500 in Social Security a month. In today's numbers, we're going to inflate that. $2,500, that's $30,000 a year. In today's numbers, we're going to inflate at 2.6% a year. So we're going to say, because remember, what you see on your Social Security statement, what the benefit they give you in today's dollars what it'll be pay out in the future at your full retirement age. But they're not inflating that for that 2.6 average cost of living adjustment. They're saying just today, in today's dollars, you're going to get $2,500 a month. Does that make sense? So we got to inflate that at 2.6. So we're going to say at your full retirement age, your Social Security is $2,500 in today's numbers. But we got to inflate that to reflect this right here. All right, again, there's a method to my madness here, so bear with me just a second. So we're 53 years old today, so we're going to inflate it for 17 years. 2,500 is our present value, 17N. We're going to inflate at 2.6%, not having any payments, and that will be worth, that didn't work, 2,500, 2,500 is our present value, no payments. We're inflating at 2.6% for 17 years. That'd be $33,867 will be the amount of money we're receiving at Social Security when we're 70 years old. Now, we're not doing any delayed earnings credits. We're just saying today's numbers inflated at 2.6% a year. What will it pay when I'm 70? It'll be $3,867. All right, so we times that by 12. And we got $46,400 coming from Social Security. All right, so we're 70 years old. We got $46,400 come from Social Security. How can I write? Maybe like this. I'm going to do is open up a spreadsheet here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up a spreadsheet, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, and we go to Sheets, Boink. And let's just get an empty spreadsheet here because I'm going to show you the provisional income and how that's going to affect your taxes. We'll just do a blank spreadsheet here. All right, so let's open this guy up. All right, so and it was going to be quick and easy, my friends. It's not going to be anything fancy about this, but you'll know exactly how the RMD rules work. All right, so in this case, we got at 70 years old, we have 31,000 in RMDs, all right, and we got 46,400 in Social Security. And we're not even counting any spouse income here either. So 31,000 RMDs. We can get this to cooperate. Let's go there, buddy. Let's get this going. All right, hold on just a second. It's coming. It's coming. Thanks. Subscribe. I'm like Lisa Bonet's daughter, Chloe something. Subscribe. All right, so we got RMDs is 31,000. All right. We got Social Security is 46,400. And we're just going to say spousal Social Security is half that. Equals this divided by 2. All right. So what we do is we add these guys up. No, we don't add these guys up yet. We have to add these two guys here. All right. That's total Social Security. Now what we do is we take, So now what we're going to do to get our provisional income, we have to take equals this divided by 2 plus plus this right there. Okay. So our provisional income is $65,800. All right. So now, because we're married filing jointly, we know 0 to 34K, 0. All right. We know the next 34K to 40 or 32K, excuse me. Right? Yeah, 0 to 32K. 0 to 30K, 0. 32K to 44K of provisional income is at half. So that's $12,000, and you times that by half. We know for a fact it's going to be $6,000. All right, so that's 12,000. I'm just gonna type in because I know exactly what's gonna be. All right, and now we got to take 65,000 minus 44K. So we're gonna do this equals boink that minus 44, and then only 21,000, and then we're gonna times that by 0.85. Oops. And we're going to times that by 0.85. All right, so that's 18,500. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to take these two guys here, and then we're going to take it plus that right there. All right, so our taxable income here is $55,530. Now, we are going to have two standard deductions, and because we're over the age of 64, they're going to be 75. They're going to be 27,000 total. So we minus as a standard deduction of 27,000, and so what we do here is we go equals this guy minus this guy, and our taxable income is 28,530. So basically, we're going to have a tax about roughly $1,900 on the first 19,000, and then 12% on the next 10. So basically, we're looking at a $25 to maybe $3,000 in income tax. That's it. All right. So that kind of makes sense. So we got about $3,000 of income tax. Not a big deal. But now let's go up to this guy here on Social Security when we're 85 years old. Now our RMDs are 68,000. All right. So let's see what this looks like. Now, though, our Social Security isn't just 46,400. Now we got to inflate that again by another 15 years. So we got 46,400 times it's our present value, 15 years, 2.6%, not making any payments. So that means our Social Security in that case is 68,191, 68,191. And now we got, look at that. Look how much difference that changes. So here, our provisional income, again, is 1/2 of our Social Security. Oh, wait, did I not put it in the right button? I got to put it right there. Excuse me. 68,191. That's where it should go. Oh, that didn't change that? Why did that change that? Oops, I screwed that up. Boink. This divided by 2. All right, so let's see what we got here. There we go. All right, so let me tell you what's going on. So we have RMDs, required minimum distributions of 68,000 when we're 85 years old. We have Social Security. Again, we haven't done any planning for Social Security. We just took it at full retirement age of 67 for both the participant and the spouse. So we got 68,000 for the participant and half that for the spouse. So the total provisional income is $102,000. All right. So now what we do is I know for a fact that their total Social Security benefit will be taxed at 85%. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to get rid of all this. We're just going to say equals this times 0.85 plus this. All right. So now we have, let's just make sure that's right. We got E5 times 0.85. Yep. Plus that. Okay, good. So that's right. So we have, so that's going to be our AGI right there. All right. And that's our AGI. Our provisional income is, you don't have to pay attention to this right here anymore, but our provisional income is simply, is going to be half our Social Security benefit plus this RMD. That'll be our provisional income. And then we take whatever that amount is, and it's the lesser of that provisional income amount, which is half your Social Security income plus your RMD with these numbers here, or 85% of your total Social Security benefit will be subject to income tax. I know for a fact in this regard, 85% of our total Social Security benefit will be subject to income tax. I know that for a fact. I didn't even have to calculate the provisional income, because if you do this long enough, you'll know once you start making RMDs, that's significantly high. Your total Social Security benefit, 85% of that will be taxed. You don't even have to figure out the provisional income. All right. So we know we take 85% of our total Social Security benefit. We add the RMD, required distribution, which gives us this amount right here. All right. Now, the thing is that hasn't changed for inflation at all relative to what Social Security. Social Security is still 100% taxed at 85%. There's no getting around that. Now, the standard deduction will have changed. We got to change that too. So we have 20. We're going to inflate that at 2.6. It's our present value. 2.6 is our interest, 15 years, no payment. So our standard deduction now will be $39,680. All right, so we're going to change that to $39,680, and our taxable income is $115. What does that tell you? Well, that doesn't, right now you're in the 22% tax bracket. That's a fact. And so in this case, we know for a fact if you have any qualified dividends or a long-term capital gain, they're going to go from 0 tax to 15%. There's no getting around that. Part 2, though, if you have any, in this case, we know 100%, 50%, 85% of your Social Security is subject to taxation, right? Not going to affect your Medicare because we're married filing jointly, all right? But we are in a higher tax bracket. It went from 12 to 22 because of the RMDs. We have now taxes on capital gains and dividends. If we have any, will be subject to tax, or previously they were not. It hasn't affected our Social Security. It hasn't affected our Medicare yet, all right? But it has put us in a higher tax bracket. But if we're single now, all right? So single, we get rid of this right here, boink. What happens here? Now, if we're single, again, we're not going to have $39,000 of required of RMD of standard deduction. We're going to have $39,680 divided by 2. We're going to have $19,840 will be our standard deduction. All right. Now let's see. We're going to have 85% of our Social Security will be subject to taxation. E5, it's total Social Security is 60. Yeah. So total Social Security, 85% of that will be subject to tax. So that's our total Social Security benefit. 85% of that is subject to tax plus the required distribution, because the required distribution does not change if you're a surviving spouse or even if you're a married or a single taxpayer anymore. You still have $68,000 of required minimum distributions. We still have 85% of our Social Security subject to taxation. We lose a standard deduction. So we add these two numbers together, and what you get right here is your AGI of 125. What does that tell you? That tells you your Medicare premiums are going to go up. So if we say 75,000, I think is a threshold for Medicare premium increases, we do a present value and we add how many it was. So we're 50. I don't know, was it 25 years, right? We were 1960. We're 55 now, right? So it's going to be, we'll just say 25 years at 2.6. So just for simplicity, it might be a little bit. 75,000 is our present value, no payment. 25N at 2.6, it's going to be 142. So we are up the threshold now of having increasing Medicare premiums. Not quite there yet, because I'm inflating Medicare for 25 years. I think just kind of thinking off the top of my head that's probably not going to be correct, but we're getting up to the threshold where you have higher and higher Medicare premiums solely due to the required minimum distributions, solely due to our Social Security. Even though we have less taxable income, we've lost the standard deduction. We have a higher tax bracket for sure, and we're going to have obviously taxes if we have any capital gains or long-term or qualified dividends. Plus, we're going to have higher increasing in Medicare premiums as well. So that's what happens with a Schwab, with a RMD calculator, is what you got to look at. You can't just look at this and say, oh, my RMD is 30,000 and no big deal. That doesn't mean it. That's the future required distribution. Absolutely. But you got to factor in what that does to your Social Security. You got to factor what that does with the standard deductions. You got to factor what that does with other sources of income that you have. And then you got to factor in what it does to your Social Security taxation and your Medicare taxation. are your premiums. You have to look at all this stuff. So don't get caught up in just looking at a simple RMD thing and say, oh man, my RMD is only 30,916. It's not going to be a big deal. It is going to be a big deal. As I just showed you right here, this puts you up against an increase in Medicare premiums. It does. Now, look, I'm just doing this kind of back of the envelope thing with just this little piece of paper here. But if you want to really get in the nuts and bolts, you can run these numbers a lot of different ways. Like, what if you have a 7% rate of return? I mean, that's not, again, crazy man talk. I mean, it's 7% rate of return. Now RMDs will jump up significantly for sure. What if you have more than 250 you're starting with? We're only starting with 250 when we started this whole exercise. What if you're putting more than 10,000 a year in? I mean, all of these things can be a big deal. So I hope this helps you, because you got to understand how RMDs can affect the back end of your retirement. It's a big, big deal. So have any questions, you look at the Schwab website. I'll put the link to the show notes here. Not a whole lot of other calculators I was all that fond of here at the Schwab website, actually, got to say. So they're okay. Nothing wrong with them, but definitely not a huge proponent of some of these calculators. I was actually somewhat disappointed, but I like the RMD calculator. It works. It's simple, but it works. So don't forget to subscribe, comment, share this video, and we'll see you next time on Heritage Wealth Planning. Thanks, guys.